Hold onto your loop and steady your hand, because our journey begins with a coin that marked a nation's 200th birthday and carries more intrigue than its simple design might suggest. Born from a wave of patriotic pride in the mid-1970s, this unassuming quarter slipped into pockets across America in staggering numbers, yet decades later it still turns heads at auction houses and local coin shops alike. As we trace its story from concept to mint to marketplace, you'll see why seasoned collectors and casual owners alike have every reason to keep one of these bicentennial marvels close at hand. The spark for this special release ignited during a time of renewed reflection on America's roots. In the aftermath of social upheaval and a costly war overseas, Americans looked to their founding ideals for unity and inspiration. To commemorate the 200th anniversary of independence, Congress authorized the mint to refresh the reverse designs of the quarter, half dollar, and dollar, each bearing the dual date 1776 to 1976. This marked the first time U.S. circulating coinage carried a double date, and intriguingly, no coins were struck with the date 1975. Production ran from late 1975 into December 1976, creating an entire class of coins that technically skipped a year. Designer Jack L. R's choice for the quarter's back was both evocative and accessible. A colonial drummer boy mid-stride, drumsticks high, bracing the viewer for the call to freedom. Flanked by a flowing ribbon inscribed United States of America above and E pluribus unum below, the die combined symbolism with kinetic energy. On the obverse, John Flanagan's familiar portrait of George Washington remained, flanked by Liberty overhead and In God We Trust to the left, the dual date anchored neatly at the base. At first glance, it appears simple, but upon closer inspection, every curve of the ribbon and the drummer's coat lapel tells a story of fierce independence. In total, 3 mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, struck the clad business strikes destined for circulation. Each facility also produced limited runs of silver-clad proof and uncirculated mint state quarters for collectors. These special issues contain 40% silver in the outer layers, lending a cool, satiny luster that photographers prize. Unlike the gleaming, mirror-like deep cameo-proof finish, uncirculated silver clads exhibit a softly frosted relief against a subtly mirrored field, offering an understated elegance collectors crave. While circulating examples weigh 5.67 grams overall, the silver clads clock in slightly heavier, at 6.25 grams, a difference you can feel with a sensitive scale. Beyond metal content, a handful of other variations keep collectors on their toes. Watch for doubled dies, where key elements like Liberty or the drummer's drumsticks appear shadowed, often the result of a die slipping mid-rotation during hubbing. Off-center strikes, where up to 20% of the design misses the planchet, can yield eye-catching half-drummers that look almost abstract. Even crimped planchets occasionally break away in flurries of metal curls, leaving behind scalloped rims. These error coins traveled through mint inspections undetected and now command premiums that can eclipse even pristine regular issues when graded by PCGS or NGC. Auction records illustrate the wide value spectrum. A San Francisco silver-clad proof in PF70 Deep Cameo, sold at Heritage Auctions in October 2024, fetched $2,300, a testament to true gem quality and deep contrast in the cameo fields. Meanwhile, a rare Denver off-center error graded MS65 barely in the business strike finish sailed to $1,200 late last year, propelled by a bidding war among error coin aficionados. Common MS65 copper-nickel quarters typically trade for $20 to $30, but once you climb to MS67 or higher, values redline quickly. MS67 copper-nickel examples routinely exceed $100, while MS67 silverclads can tip the scales at $1,000 or more. Even modestly toned MS63 specimens, those with faint rainbow toning around the rims, can draw $15 to $25, thanks to their aesthetic charm. Of course, not every coin needs to be flawless to tell a compelling story. One collector recalls discovering a softly circulated Denver quarter in his change, its surface is worn but for the drum and banner still visible. A quick look under magnification revealed a tiny die crack snaking across the ribbon, an imperfection that elevated its value to $75 when sold at a regional show. Other enthusiasts chased the elusive D over S mint mark on San Francisco proofs, where remnants of a Denver D show faintly beneath the applied S. Only a couple dozen such overstrikes are known, and when one surfaces, the marketplace ignites, sometimes doubling the fair market value. Beyond grading and errors, the Bicentennial Quarter plays a role in specialized collecting sets. The official mint Bicentennial proof and uncirculated sets, sold directly by the U.S. Mint, remain surprisingly affordable on the secondary market, often under $50 for a complete trio of clad coins. But finding one with original packaging intact and a low serial number can nudge that closer to $75 or $100. Meanwhile, customized silver-clad proof sets with presentation boards, like those once distributed to schools and libraries, have become sought-after relics. Some sell for $150 to $250 depending on condition and provenance. Stories abound of accidental finds as well. In 1977, a mail carrier in Kansas City noticed heavier rolls of quarters in a delivery truck and pulled aside a bundle that weighed more than expected. Inside, he found a mix of clad and silver-clad proofs, likely mispackaged at the mint. Word spread, and legend has it that several postal workers quietly gathered silver-clad quarters before the oversight was corrected. Those coins slipped into circulation, only to surface years later in unsuspecting change jars, like the specimen that turned up in a Las Vegas casino machine in 1993, still shimmering after nearly 2 decades. The nuances of grading deeply affect value, too. A certified MS65 coin may look identical to an MS64 to the untrained eye, yet that single grade bump can be worth 50% more. Grading companies examine strike quality, luster, contact marks, and toning, all through strict standards. For that reason, many collectors send their best pieces to third-party services, enduring long wait times for the potential payoff of a top-grade label. Meanwhile, emerging platforms like online blind auctions let hobbyists sell raw coins with provisional grades, fostering lively bidding among specialists before coins travel to grading labs. For those handling their coins hands-on, proper storage is key. Silver-clad proofs benefit from inert holders, mylar flips, or acid-free cardboard 2x2s, sealed with archival tape to prevent sulfate buildup and toning spots. Some collectors even invest in nitrogen-filled display cases to eliminate oxygen exposure entirely. Copper-nickel circulation strikes tolerate more forgiving conditions, but still prefer stable humidity and consistent temperatures. A damp basement or sun-soaked windowsill will accelerate discoloration, diminishing eye appeal and market value. One final twist: the Bicentennial Quarter has inspired a vibrant aftermarket of tokens and commemoratives. Local mints struck bronze replicas for souvenir shops, and private engravers have created fantasy pieces overlaying modern icons on the drummer motif. While unofficial, these items remind us how a single design can resonate beyond its initial release, spawning art, debate, and new collecting communities devoted to every nuance of the quarter's legacy. Whether you're flipping through an inherited collection or casually tipping a clerk at the grocery store, every Bicentennial Quarter you hold carries the echoes of America's 200th birthday celebrations. Each die crack, strike variation, and subtle toning pattern offers clues waiting to be decoded. And in the right hands, a single coin can unlock hundreds or even thousands of dollars of value, along with the thrill of discovering a hidden gem. So take a moment to peer closely at your own pile of bicentennials. That unassuming quarter could be the ticket to your next great numismatic adventure. Sliding from the story of our Bicentennial Quarter fleet, let's turn our attention to another icon of early 1970s numismatics, the 1971 Eisenhower silver dollar. Shortly after President John F. Kennedy's tragic assassination in 1963, U.S. Mint leadership proposed returning to silver coinage to honor his legacy. By 1971, the decision crystallized into a new dollar design, larger in diameter than the Susan B. Anthony coin that would follow, and heftier than its quarter-sized predecessor. Released at a moment when silver bullion prices were climbing and public sentiment favored tangible metal value, the Eisenhower dollar quietly became a canvas for unexpected error varieties and treasure hunters' dreams. The origin of this coin began with two competing designs. On one side stood Frank Gasparo's rendition of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, shown in profile beneath the word Liberty and the motto, "In God We Trust." On the other side, Gasparo paid homage to Apollo 11's lunar landing with an adaptation of the mission's official insignia, a bald eagle touching down on the moon's surface, olive branch and talons, against a backdrop of stars. The choice to blend presidential portraiture with space exploration underscored a nation looking ahead, celebrating leadership while crowning the first human footsteps beyond Earth. Once strikes rolled out of Philadelphia and Denver, collectors quickly noticed two primary compositions: standard copper-nickel-clad business strikes for circulation and 40% silver-clad specimens offered exclusively in proof and uncirculated collector sets. The silver layer imparted a cool gray sheen and a weightier feel, about 24.59 grams compared to the 22.68 grams of the clad version, making it easy to distinguish with a simple scale or a heft comparison. Proofs from San Francisco featured a more pronounced cameo contrast than their uncirculated counterparts, enhancing the eagle's feathers and Eisenhower's facial details against smooth, mirror-like fields. Yet the real allure for many stems from the errors and variety short runs scattered across production batches. Die rotation mistakes left some coins with the reverse rotated slightly off-axis from the obverse, resulting in coins that appear askew when flipped. Double die errors on the date and motto emerged in limited numbers, leaving 19 and 71, with faint shadows that can only be spotted under magnification. In one notable case, collectors unearthed a batch with a missing olive branch on the eagle's talon, a result of an improperly prepared master hub, transforming an everyday coin into a unicorn of numismatics. Turning to market performance, copper-nickel business strikes in circulated grades generally trade for $2 to $5, a modest premium over face. However, once coins exhibit minimal wear, graded MS63 or better, values climb to the $20 to $40 range. By the time you reach MS65, bidders see $75 to $100 as a fair starting point. Conversely, pristine MS67 copper nickels have crossed $500 at top-tier auctions, especially when they boast unbroken luster and no visible contact marks. Silver-clad, uncirculated examples, more coveted among traditional collectors, start around $30 in MS63 and can reach $150 to $200 in MS66, with MS67 proof likenesses often hitting well over $1,000 when deep cameo contrast is certified. A handful of standout auction records illustrate the coin's hidden depths. In early 2025, an MS66S proof silver-clad specimen sold for $1,500, driven by its ultra-sharp strike and deep frost on the relief. Another sale from late 2023 featured a Denver business strike with a 30-degree rotated die error commanding $2,200 after bidders recognized the rarity of misaligned dies surviving mid-inspection. That same auction spotlighted a faint double die reverse example that startled attendees by selling for $1,800, proving that enthusiasts will pay handsomely for those subtle, elusive anomalies. Beyond numbers, personal stories animate the Eisenhower dollar's lore. One collector recalls finding a copper-nickel example in a 1972 coin roll purchased from a small-town bank. The coin looked ordinary until magnification revealed a tiny cud, a blob of metal, extending from the eagle's wing. Without that defect, the coin would have been a $2 novelty. With it, someone later paid $850. Another sleuthing tale involves a numismatic club in Ohio that dissected an entire tray of proof dollars under high-resolution scanners, unearthing two examples with off-center reverses thought to be unique. Both went on sale as a match pair for over $3,500. Key identifying features can save you hours of search time. On the obverse, examine Eisenhower's jawline and uniform details. Crispness here signals a strong strike, especially on silver-clad proofs. The reverse eagle's wing feathers should be fully separated and distinct. Any merging or soft edges suggest a weaker strike or circulation wear. 4 die rotation checks. Position each coin heads up, then flip vertically. Any rotation beyond a couple degrees warrants further scrutiny. A simple pro tip is to keep a genuine MS65 copper nickel as a benchmark in a 2x2 holder, allowing you to compare heft, reflectivity, and field smoothness on the spot. Condition variations profoundly impact value. A heavily circulated Eisenhower dollar reveals flattened highs, smoothed eagle talons, and subdued lettering. Such coins rarely fetch more than $1 to $2 except when a glaring error fascinates a buyer. Advancing to about fine 1-2 or very fine 2-0 on the collectible scale brings sharper relief but visible contact marks. Once a coin reaches extremely fine, EF40 to EF45, it possesses substantial luster and only minor abrasions, typically trading between $5 and $10. Uncirculated designations, MS60 to MS62, mark the jump into genuine collector territory, where residual bag marks are acceptable but eye appeal remains strong. Crash through that threshold into MS63 and above, and values multiply. MS63 coins boast full cartwheel luster coupled with only light bag friction. Expect $20 to $40 for copper nickel and $50 to $75 for silver clads. In the MS64 bracket, surface abrasions diminish, but fields remain largely undisturbed. Values surge to $40 to $75 and $100 to $150 respectively. MS65 coins are particularly glamorous. Highly reflective fields, minimal marks, and razor-sharp devices mean $75 to $125 for the clad strikes and $200 to $300 for the silver specimens. From MS66 on, the market becomes junior varsity to the rarefied professionals. A single MS67 proof silver clad can surpass $1,500, while an MS68 might quietly shatter records in a private transaction. Besides condition, mint mark location matters. Philadelphia coins lack a mint mark on the obverse, whereas Denver issues bear a D beneath Eisenhower's neck. San Francisco proofs, struck in brilliant hubs, display an S in the same position. Early proofs sometimes show a faint S punched over a misplaced D, making them prized by variety hunters. The S over D proof is among the most sought-after errors. Only a handful are documented, and when one turns up, bidders snap them up for double or triple the going rate for a comparable MS grade. Stories from grading labs further underscore the excitement. In mid-2024, PCGS reported a proof silver clad thought to be unique due to an obverse die crack tracing from the date rim into Eisenhower's chin. The specimen sold at an online auction for $1,800, shattering the previous record for that variety. NGC similarly highlighted an MS670 business strike with a particularly strong strike and vibrant toning ring, which set collectors abuzz when it closed at $550 in September 2024. These narratives fuel demand by reminding collectors that every coin carries the possibility of being the one. As you set this knowledge in motion, remember the signs to watch for: sharp portraits, clean fields, correct heft, and mint-marked origins. Next time you handle a 1971 silver-clad proof or a circulated copper-nickel dollar, pause to examine every detail. You might just hold a variation that fetches far more than its $1 face value, and with it, a story you'll recount for years to come.